A profound and deeply meaningful transition is moving toward your life at this very moment. It is approaching with a steady, unhurried certainty, and its first signs will begin to reveal themselves within the next 7 hours. I am sharing this with you plainly right now because I do not want you to drift away from this exact coordinate in time. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention, pulling us in 1,000 different directions, urging us to look ahead to the next task, the next worry, or the next distraction. But if you step away right now, if you allow your mind to wander back into the noise of the world, you might miss the subtle alignment that has been set aside for you alone. Stay here. Listen closely to the underlying quietness of this moment, because these words are reaching you for a specific reason. This is not an empty promise designed to temporarily lift your spirits, nor is it a hidden truth meant to be revealed only to a select few. It is an acknowledgement of a reality that is already taking shape in the unseen spaces of your life. Within the next 7 hours, a visible shift will form, touching your current circumstances in a way you did not anticipate. This change is not small, nor is it ordinary. It carries the weight necessary to fundamentally alter how you feel, how you think, and how you perceive the road stretching out before you. I know how incredibly tired you are. I know how easily your spirit grows weary after carrying the same heavy questions month after month, year after year. It is completely natural that your attention wants to move on, to find a distraction, or to numb the ache of waiting by focusing on something else. But this is explicitly not the moment to drift away into the background of your own life. This is the precise moment to be completely still, to lower your defenses, and to prepare yourself to receive. For a very long time, your heart has been waiting for some form of tangible relief. You have been searching for confirmation that your efforts matter, that your sacrifices have been noticed, and that things will eventually turn in your favor. That long, exhausting period of waiting is finally on the verge of meeting its true answer. You have carried a silent, invisible weight for longer than anyone else truly understands. You became an expert at keeping your feet moving forward even when the ground beneath you felt entirely uncertain. I watched you navigate those shadows. I saw the quiet, heavy nights when you felt completely isolated in your struggle, wondering if anyone knew the depth of your exhaustion. I saw the mornings when you forced yourself to rise anyway, putting on a brave face and stepping into the day without even knowing why you bothered to try. Not a single one of those moments was lost. Not 1 hour of that silent endurance went unnoticed or unrecorded. Hear me clearly on this. What is coming toward you in this new season is not a random coincidence. It is not a stroke of luck or a meaningless twist of fate. It is intricately, directly connected to everything you have endured, every tear you have shed in secret, and every piece of your heart that you kept open despite the pain. Blessings are never scattered carelessly into the wind with the faint hope that they might land somewhere good. They are aimed with absolute precision, crafted with intentionality, and the one that is currently approaching carries your unique name upon it. If you believe that this hour belongs to you, let that belief settle deep within your mind. Let it become a quiet, unshakable conviction. Many people miss the most profound blessings of their lives because they are constantly waiting for thunder and dramatic displays. They look for the spectacular, the loud, and the overwhelming, and in doing so, they walk right past the quiet miracles that change everything. Not you. Not this time. Right now, your attention is being sharpened and refined so that when the goodness begins to manifest, you will recognize it instantly. That is the exact reason you were asked to stay in this space of stillness. Your awareness in this very moment is not passive. It is an active part of the transformation that is taking place. You might feel a strange sense of urgency stirring in your spirit right now, a subtle thrumming beneath the surface of your thoughts. Do not mistake that feeling for anxiety or fear. It is not danger. It is pure awareness. It is the profound sensation of your soul recognizing that something vital is close, knowing it deeply before your logical mind can formulate the words to explain it. Trust that inner knowing. The next 7 hours are fundamentally different from the ordinary hours that make up your regular days. They are thick with movement, filled with an invisible activity that concerns your life directly. Think back to the requests, the hopes, and the silent prayers you made a long time ago, the ones you almost stopped believing in because the silence lasted so long. It is easy to assume that when an answer takes time, it has been forgotten or denied. But not a single one of those intentions was lost. While you were busy surviving, the pieces were being meticulously arranged behind the scenes. The elements you could not see were being set in order, the timing was being calibrated, and the perfect moment was being chosen. That moment is now closer than you have ever imagined. You are not being ignored, and you have never been ignored, even when the silence felt deafening. Every single step you have taken, even the ones that felt like stumbling, even the detours that seemed to take you miles away from your goals, has functioned as a necessary bridge to bring you to this exact point of readiness. It is undeniable that the road has been incredibly difficult. There were long, desolate stretches where nothing seemed to alter, no matter how much effort you poured into your work, your relationships, or your personal growth. It felt as though you were running in place, trapped in a permanent winter where nothing could grow. But you are now crossing an invisible border, stepping out of that stagnant territory and into a space where the currents of life begin to flow actively in your favor. You will begin to feel this difference internally before you can point to external proof. Your heart will register the shift before the world catches up. When it arrives, stay calm and keep your hands open. What is coming is not designed to overwhelm your capacity or add to your stress. It is designed to lift you out of the trenches. It is not bringing confusion, chaos, or another round of complicated problems into your life. It is bringing absolute clarity. It is not arriving to strip anything more away from you. It is arriving to initiate a deep, thorough process of restoration. The subtle stirring you are experiencing right now is simply the first edge of that shift, the very front of the wave. As the hours continue to tick away, that feeling will grow stronger, steadier, and more undeniable. Your only task right now is to watch for the small, quiet signs. Look for the sudden, unexpected thought that instantly settles your nervous system. Notice the unexplainable moment of peace that arrives in the middle of a busy hour without any obvious external cause. Watch for the door that suddenly gives way and swings open, even though you expected it to remain locked tight against you. Do not brush these occurrences aside as mere coincidences or tricks of the mind. They are the initial footprints of the change that has been promised. Very often, the deepest truths speak directly to your heart long before your intellect can comprehend them, and that inner conversation is happening right now. This is your moment to stay close to that inner voice, to remain anchored, and to refuse to turn away out of habit or cynicism. What is currently traveling toward you is something you have genuinely needed for a very long time. Even if you never manage to find the exact words to articulate it, even if you never formalize it into a proper request, your life itself has been an unspoken question, and that life is now receiving its answer. The response will feel incredibly personal when it lands, because it was designed specifically for the shape of your soul. Keep your heart steady. You are not walking through this pivotal hour in isolation, cut off from the fabric of existence. You are being held, guided, and led through this transition with an immense amount of deliberate care. And that guidance is never careless. The path ahead is fully known. Every sudden rise, every steep drop, and every smooth stretch of flat ground has been mapped out. The destination is certain. Do not allow the old, familiar voice of doubt to pull at your sleeve as you walk forward. Doubt is a predictable force. It always speaks loudest and most aggressively right before an answer breaks through the surface. It will whisper into your ear that this moment is exactly like every other ordinary moment of your past. It will tell you that nothing is actually changing, that your hopes will only lead to disappointment, and that you should look away to protect yourself. But that whisper is entirely wrong. This specific hour matters infinitely more than doubt could ever understand. You did not arrive at this point by accident or random chance. Your spirit recognized that something important was occurring in the deeper currents of your life, and it held you in place so that you would be present to witness it. Honor that internal gravity. Stay exactly where you are, wrapped in this intentional stillness, allowing these words to surround and protect your thoughts. As you continue to listen, I want you to actively slow down your breathing. Take a deep, deliberate breath in and let it out fully. Feel your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let the frantic, Racing thoughts in your mind begin to lose their speed, growing quiet and still like a storm that has finally run out of rain. You do not need to solve a single problem in this exact moment. You do not need to perform for anyone. You do not need to prove your worth. And you do not need to push against the world with white-knuckled effort. Your only assignment right now is to simply exist and receive. That is the entirety of the task in front of you, and it is more than enough. There is a profound reason why this specific message found its way to you today, at this exact hour, rather than last week or next month. Timing is never loose, accidental, or careless. The movements of life occur when the moment itself is entirely full, not a single breath before, and not a single breath after. This current moment is full to the brim. That is why you are here, and that is why you are capable of hearing this truth. Let the frantic noise of the day fall away into the background. Let every looming worry, every unanswered email, and every future anxiety wait outside the door for a little while. For this next stretch of time, accept the reality that you are not the one who has to hold the entire universe together. You can step down from the role of the caretaker, the problem solver, and the protector. The heavy lifting is being handled by forces much larger than you, and that very good news is already well on its way. It left the source the exact moment you began to quiet your mind and listen. Now, listen closely to the aspect of this transformation that is the most deeply personal. What is being brought into your life is intimately connected to the things you have carried in absolute secrecy. There are memories, fears, and hurts that you have never fully disclosed to another living soul. There are heavy burdens that you press down deep into the dark corners of your heart because you simply did not know how to put them into words, or because you feared that if you spoke them aloud, no one would truly understand. Those hidden rooms of your heart have been fully seen. The keys to those locked spaces have always been held by love, and what is coming in these next few hours will reach directly into those exact, untouched places to begin a profound work of relief. Very soon, you will notice an undeniable sensation of calm arriving in the specific areas of your life where heavy, crushing pressure used to live. That calm is not a figment of your imagination, nor is it a temporary mood that will vanish by tomorrow morning. It is a tangible presence settling over you like a warm blanket. Whenever true transformation occurs, peace always arrives first, acting as a scout. Peace is the essential ground that makes a wounded heart soft enough and steady enough to receive something new. Do not resist that softening. Let the peace sink all the way down into your bones, past the scars and past the defenses. Simultaneously, a major shift is occurring in the way you process your thoughts. You are beginning to naturally see possibilities in spaces where you once saw nothing but solid brick walls. Ideas that felt completely impossible, heavy, or out of reach just a season ago are suddenly beginning to feel achievable. This internal expansion is deliberate work. Before the external landscape of your life can be reorganized, the internal structure must be strengthened. Your inner foundation is being reinforced right now so that when the external blessings arrive, your hands will be steady enough, and your heart will be wide enough to hold them without fear of losing them. You have walked through dark, painful moments that made you deeply question your own worth and value. Those experiences were heavy, and they left deep, visible marks upon your spirit. But you are not being left to live permanently in that place of brokenness. What is approaching will begin to systematically rebuild everything that was shaken within you. It will rebuild your confidence, your joy, and your sense of security beam by beam, step by step, until you can stand tall and firm without needing to constantly brace yourself against the wind. Stop looking back at the things that failed in your past and treating them as if they are an accurate prophecy of your future. What fell apart was merely a single chapter in a very long book. It was never the whole story. A completely new narrative is being written for you now, and it will not read like the pages that came before it. It carries a completely different weight, a lighter air, a healthier rhythm, and a beautiful ending. Understand this truth with absolute clarity. The good news that is approaching is not a single, isolated event that will flash brightly for a moment and then fade away into darkness. It is not a temporary stroke of luck. It is a definitive beginning. It is the very first link in a long, beautiful chain of moments that will systematically build upon one another over time. What opens up within these next 7 hours will naturally lead to what unfolds next week, which will in turn pave the way for what manifests the month after that. It may start remarkably small. It might look like an unexpected, kind word from a stranger's mouth. Could be a profound realization that lands in your mind while you are doing something completely ordinary, like washing the dishes or driving down the street. It might be an answer that arrives through a door you had stopped watching months ago. This is a common pattern. Transformation often begins with something incredibly simple so that you can easily recognize the intentional design behind it. Do not despise or overlook the small openings. The largest, most powerful rivers on this planet all began as tiny, quiet springs bubbling up through the dirt. There is also a massive release occurring in your life right now. Something significant that was intentionally held back, delayed, or blocked by circumstances is now being permitted to move freely toward you. You will begin to experience this as actual momentum in areas where everything previously felt fastened shut, frozen, or dead. You will see tangible progress where there was once nothing but stagnant standing still. The movement has already been initiated. Even if the physical evidence is still traveling through time to reach you, the process is irreversible. I know that the waiting season stretched out for far longer than you ever expected it to. I know it wore heavily on your patience, drained your energy, and severely tested your ability to keep believing in better days. There were entire seasons when the silence of the universe felt like a cruel answer in itself, and that answer felt like a definitive no. But you must understand that silence was never the same thing as absence. The things that have been promised over your life are never abandoned, forgotten, or left behind. Not ever. If these words are reaching your spirit right now, whisper to yourself, I am ready to receive it. Stay steady, because what unfolds next must be welcomed with a spirit of peace, not chased with a frantic energy born of anxiety. You do not need to rush the process. You do not need to force open a single door or beg anyone for their approval. Remain fully present in the current moment, keep your will flexible, and let the pieces naturally fall into their proper places. Every single step is being ordered with perfect intelligence, and no mistakes are being made. As the hours progress, you might feel a gentle, intuitive pull toward a specific, small action. It might be a conversation you realize you need to have, a step you need to finally take in your career, or a decision that suddenly becomes beautifully clear after months of fog. Pay close attention to that subtle pull. True guidance always moves in ways that feel calm, spacious, and unhurried. It is never frantic, loud, or demanding. When clarity comes, it simplifies your life. When pressure comes from fear, it complicates and confuses everything. Learn to recognize the profound difference between the two, and you will never find yourself lost. There is a deliberate reason why you are being called back to this state of closeness and intimacy. Your attention is directly joined to your awareness, and your awareness is the vessel through which you receive your life. The more awake and conscious you are to the subtle movements occurring around you, the more fully you will be able to take hold of the opportunities when they appear. A blessing that is truly recognized is a blessing that can be permanently kept. You are not being left behind by the world. You are being carefully positioned. There is an immense difference between being forgotten and being prepared, and you are about to feel that difference in your reality. The process of positioning requires an enormous amount of patience, and you gave that patience generously, even when it cost you your comfort, your sleep, and your peace of mind. You are now finally stepping into the landscape that your patience purchased. It is easy to look around and feel as though others are moving much faster than you, achieving milestones with ease while you struggle through the mud. But you must never measure the unique geometry of your road by the map of someone else's journey. The things that have been shaped and crafted specifically for your life would not fit the frame of their existence, and what was given to them would sit crookedly and uncomfortably in yours. Your path was cut precisely to fit your unique spirit, your specific strengths, and your individual purpose. Walk it proudly without looking sideways to compare, and you will instantly walk it in absolute peace. Keep your heart wide open, because what is currently arriving is intended to completely fill a space that has stood empty, cold, and hollow for far too long. This is not a temporary visitor. This is not something fragile that will collapse the moment the first storm hits. What comes into your life in this season will stay, it will take root, and it will steadily grow. And the best part is that you will not have to grip it with tight, white knuckles or constant anxiety to keep it from slipping through your fingers. It will rest in your life naturally, the way a precious stone rests securely in its custom setting. Your inner psychological world and your outer material world are being aligned simultaneously. That is why these recent days may have felt incredibly strange, heavy, or unpredictable, as if something massive was moving deep beneath the surface of everything you thought you knew. Something was moving. The ground beneath you is not shaking to destroy you. It is being leveled to create a flat, stable foundation for what comes next. Take a moment to notice how much you have already changed as a person. You do not react to chaos or disrespect the way you once did. Circumstances that would have completely undone you, shattered your confidence, or thrown you into a spiral a year ago now pass right through you, leaving you standing firm and unbothered. You might have thought that no one noticed that quiet, internal growth, but it was seen, and it matters more than you could ever know. That hard-won maturity is a massive part of why this exact moment of breakthrough has finally arrived. So let your breathing slow down once again. Let the old, defensive bracing in your chest fully unclench. You have spent years of your life perfectly conditioned to receive bad news. You became accustomed to walking around with your shoulders up, your guard held high, and your eyes constantly watching the door for the next disaster. You became an expert at surviving the worst-case scenarios. But now, you are being asked to completely drop that armor and stand ready for good news instead. It is an entirely different posture. It will feel incredibly unfamiliar and awkward at first, almost like trying to speak a language you haven't heard since early childhood. Speak it anyway, even if you stammer. Your soul will remember the grammar of joy much faster than your mind thinks it will, and what is being sent to you will meet you perfectly within that space of openness. A quiet, massive preparation is happening all around you. Even right now, though your immediate physical surroundings might look completely unchanged and ordinary, the unseen variables are being rearranged. The road ahead is being softened so that when the change arrives, it will integrate smoothly into your life rather than overwhelming your system. You asked for change, you prayed for transition, and that change is now actively taking form. Let us speak deeply about the nature of doors. There are specific doors in your past that you knocked on for years, pouring your heart, your time, and your tears into trying to get them to open. You stood outside them in every imaginable kind of emotional weather, feeling rejected, forgotten, and constantly wondering what was fundamentally wrong with you because you couldn't gain entry. Hear this clearly. There was absolutely nothing wrong with you. Those doors were never yours to begin with. Some of them led to rooms, relationships, and career paths that would have ultimately cost you your peace, your integrity, and your destiny. They would have taken far more than they ever could have given you. They were kept shut out of deep protection and love, not out of neglect or punishment. But there is a specific door that has been custom-built to fit your exact frame, your specific talents, and your ultimate destiny, and that door is beginning to swing open right now. It will not resist your touch. You will not have to force the hinges, scream at the threshold, or compromise your dignity to get through it. When it begins to move, you will feel the profound difference immediately. It will feel like the smooth, effortless click of a perfect key turning in a lock that has finally found its match. What is truly yours will always open toward you with ease. Remember that truth whenever you feel tempted to force things that are trying to leave. You are going to receive something tangible in these upcoming hours. You might hear a specific piece of information, or you might suddenly understand a complex pattern in your life that has confused and frustrated you for decades. Pay close attention to these moments of sudden insight. True transformation does not always announce itself with a loud blast of trumpets or dramatic external shifts. Sometimes it moves through a quiet, sudden wave of understanding. Sometimes it manifests as a single, still thought that gently enters your mind and permanently rearranges how you view your entire existence. Never overlook or underestimate that kind of quiet power. It changes the world without making a sound. I know there were dark moments when you nearly gave up on everything, when you were ready to throw your hands up and walk away from your dreams. I know there were prayers you started but could never actually finish because your vocabulary ran out halfway through, leaving you crying in the dark. The entirety of those broken prayers was heard anyway, including the heavy, unspoken parts you never managed to put into words. The deep desires of your silence were fully understood, and they are being answered now in a way that will serve as a permanent, beautiful reminder that you were being listened to during every single second of the silence. The long, exhausting season of waiting is drawing to a definitive close. The beautiful, expansive season of receiving is officially opening its doors. The transition between these two eras of your life is incredibly quiet at first, mirroring the subtle, invisible turn from the depths of winter into the early days of spring. No single, loud morning suddenly announces that the season has changed. But one day you step outside and realize the air feels completely different. Then you notice the ground has softened, and before you know it, everything around you has bloomed into something entirely new. You are standing directly at that turning point right now. Do not rush ahead of the process out of habit or anxiety. Stay fully present in this moment. What is coming toward you is not meant to scatter your energy or complicate your life. It is arriving to settle your soul. Perfect direction will replace your heavy uncertainty. Decisions that previously felt like massive, insurmountable mountains will flatten out into simple, manageable steps before your eyes. Clarity is one of the quietest gifts existence can offer, but it is also one of the most powerful forces in the universe. There are certain attachments, beliefs, and past dynamics that you have gripped with a desperate, tight hold for a very long time, and those things are now being gently but firmly loosened from your hands. This is not happening because those things were inherently evil or wrong. It is happening because they belong entirely to the road behind you, not to the landscape stretching out ahead of you. You cannot walk effectively into a new room if your hands are completely full of the furniture from the old one. Space is being intentionally cleared in your life. The new blessings, the new connections, and the new opportunities that are traveling toward you require room to settle down and take root. Let the old weight go. Drop the old resentments, the old definitions of who you used to be, and the heavy expectations that no longer serve your growth. You were never meant to carry that archaic baggage across this new border. You have spent so many long, sleepless nights trying to dissect the past, trying to understand exactly why certain relationships fell apart, why certain plans collapsed, or why certain people walked away from you. That heavy cloud of confusion has followed you around like a dark shadow, draining your creative energy. Hear this truth today. Some of the structures that collapsed in your life were not collapsing on top of you to crush you. They were collapsing away from you to free you. You were being moved back from dangerous edges that you didn't even know existed. One day, in the near future, you will look back at a few of those painful losses, and with tears of gratitude in your eyes, you will call them rescues. You are being guided toward what will beautifully serve your future, not what temporarily flattered your past. A brand new agreement is forming between your deepest thoughts, your true feelings, and your external reality. As you stand on the threshold of this 7-hour window, realize that the universe operates in rhythms of contraction and expansion. You have survived the long contraction. You have endured the squeeze of lack, the pressure of isolation, and the weight of uncertainty. Now, the rhythm is reversing. The universe is expanding toward you, opening its hands to match the patience you have maintained through the dark. This oncoming shift requires you to let go of the identity of the victim or the perpetual struggler. It is easy to become addicted to our struggles, to define ourselves by the hardships we have overcome, and to view every new day through the lens of potential combat. When you live in survival mode for too long, your nervous system mistakes peace for danger because peace feels unfamiliar. Break that cycle today. Recognize that you are allowed to be happy. You are allowed to experience ease. You are allowed to have things work out in your favor without a catastrophic catch waiting around the corner. The goodness that is approaching is not a trap. It is not a temporary illusion, and it does not require you to pay a price of future suffering to enjoy it. It is simply your harvest. Look at your hands right now. They are empty of the past, scarred from the journey, but entirely open. Let them remain open. Do not close them into fists of defensiveness or doubt. As the hours tick away, keep a journal nearby or simply sit with your thoughts. When a sudden thought of comfort hits you, write it down. When an unexpected message lands in your inbox, read it with optimism. When a small door of opportunity cracks open, step through it with confidence. You have been trained by the best teacher in the world, adversity, and you are fully qualified to handle the success that is coming. The transition you are experiencing is a realignment of your destiny. The pieces of your life that felt scattered, broken, and unrelated are being woven into a coherent, beautiful tapestry. The pain was real, but the restoration will be even more tangible. The silence was long, but the answer will be beautifully articulate. Trust the timing of your life. Trust the invisible hands that have guided you through the darkest valleys and are now leading you up the sunlit mountain. You are not walking alone. You have never been abandoned, and your story is turning toward a chapter of profound joy, deep satisfaction, and unshakable peace. Stand tall, breathe deeply, and open your heart. The next 7 hours are yours. Receive the goodness that has been prepared for you, and step boldly into the light of your new beginning.